Awesome. I think before we get into the conversation, I'd just like to open the space up with a quick karakia. So I'll just start there. Me karakia tātou. Kia tau, ngā manakitanga, a te mea ngaro, ki runga, ki tēnā o tātou, kia mahia, te hua mā kihi, kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te reo Māori, kia tūturu, ka whakamoa, kia tīna, haumi e hui e, tā ki e.
Some big cuts.
There's been much talk in Wellington recently about allowing buildings up to 6 stories high. Do you think that this policy, however it emerges from the district plan, will actually end in these buildings being built in a sustainable way? And if so, how do you protect the rights of the people next door to those buildings who are losing sunshine to still have a warm, dry house?
A lot of the issues with housing in Wellington are the fact that a lot of the older houses are built directly on the ground. It's not actually an issue of how much sun it gets, it's an issue of being built directly on the ground, not having sufficient insulation, and then not having heating or ventilation. If you build with enough insulation and thick enough walls and windows, and you're not directly on the ground, then you have proper ventilation, you might not even need heating. That's a passive, if you build it to a passive house standard and make it really airtight. You do need mechanical ventilation for that. The Greens have been supportive of allowing more density within our inner suburbs, and I think it's really important to note that prior to the 1950s, there weren't any limits like this. And so you see really great old apartments from the 30s and 40s, Art Deco style apartments that go up to even 6 stories in suburbs like Mount Vic. And I think we just want to allow more of that to happen. Of course, it's really important that we have good urban design guidelines, that the local government is empowered to plan around open space. You know, in cities around the world, like, you think Barcelona or Paris, I mean, cities that we consider pretty lovely to walk around, pretty much all the buildings are 6 stories. Some go a little bit higher, some a little bit lower, but they have courtyards, they have little pocket parks, they have green space, and they allow more than just, it's not just housing. Like, you can go see the doctor, and there's little supermarkets in the bottom. As we allow more people to live in these neighborhoods, if we're not so restrictive on the type of use, it actually creates more amenity for people because there's more places they can get to really nearby. The most important thing is that we improve the building code and that we have a clear plan to get to quality buildings. I mentioned the passive house standard before. That's came out of Germany. And there's a really good example. That's basically become the standard in most states in Germany and some places elsewhere for new builds. And sorry, I see someone shaking their head at me, so I'm not really sure what that's about, but maybe you can tell me later. Yeah, I do believe that you can have really high quality, high amenity areas, and I think it's really important that we consider the rights of people, the future residents, as well as the rights of the existing residents.
Caden's going to close with a karakia, and then the MPs will be around to chat.
Yeah, we invite you to stick around because they're not going anywhere. And the discussion was very fruitful, so it'd be awesome to keep that going. Awesome, so I'll close this off with a quick karakia. Me karakia tātou. Kia tau, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o te tātou ariki a ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhi ngā tahitanga, ki te wairua tapu, ake, ameni. Awesome, thank you everyone for coming.